Hello everybody, my name is Sniping is Fun, and I welcome you all back to the official 7th Smash Brothers discussion video. The last video I just recorded was talking about Echo Fighters, and is there a problem with Echo Fighters? And in the last couple weeks when I was filming these videos, I talked about, are there too many Fire Emblem representatives? Mario's Final Smash, what possible third-party characters do we still have left for Smash Brothers? And whatever the heck else I talked about. Today's video is going to be talking about a certain character that everyone has been speculating on is going to be in this game. A lot of rumors and leaks kind of potentially say this character is going to be in. And it is a character that Sakurai has an affiliation with and has wanted in Smash Brothers since the days of Melee, I believe. Was it Melee or Brawl? I forgot exactly when. But Geno from the Super Mario RPG series, or should I say just one game? I mean, there's RPGs for Mario, but Super Mario RPG on the Super Nintendo. Geno, the wooden puppet star warrior possessed, Geno's world, type of character. And my question is, should Geno be the next Square rep? Like, what is the affiliation with Geno? What is the hype with Geno? Like, and should he be the next character for Square-Enix? And should he really be in Smash Brothers? Well, first things first. I'm gonna get to my legit answer in a second here, but I want to say this. Yes, I do believe Geno should eventually get into Smash Brothers. He'd be a cool character. He's iconic enough, even only with one game. And it's kind of like pulling something from the past as third-party wise that has affiliation with a third party that does have history with Nintendo. And he does have the fandom behind him, and Sakurai did make him a Mii costume, and Sakurai is a big fan of him. I'm assuming a big fan of the Mario RPG game in general from the Super Nintendo, Super Famicom, and he loves the character, and he's been wanting to put him in for so long. I'm with him. I think Geno really does deserve to get in. I don't have the big iconic, mindset for him like everyone else has. I grew up playing the game, but I only rented it like once or twice. I never really grew up with it. When I was growing up, I did play it on the Super Nintendo, but I never really played it too much later. So all this iconic memories, rose-tinted glasses type, looking back on that game that other people have, I'm sorry, but I don't. Because I really didn't get into like RPGs till like Pokemon, and then that's when I started getting into Final Fantasy, and then here comes Kingdom Hearts, and I started playing, I played Grandia, sometime in between there, and then Tales later on, and just my RPG love came later. My RPG love wasn't there when I was growing up with the Super Nintendo and the Game Boy, like it is nowadays. I talk about how my favorite two genres are fighting games and RPGs. Fighting games came immediately right on. Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, Fatal Fury, all those games came when I was on the Super Nintendo and the Game Boy and whatnot, and going to N64 and PlayStation 1 and everything. RPGs came later during the PlayStation 1 era, going into the GameCube and the PS2 and everything. I really didn't get into RPGs so much until later on. So I didn't really, I played I liked the game, but I wasn't really into RPGs back then. So for me, I don't have this nostalgic feeling for the likes of Geno that everyone else and their mother seems to have online and in Smash fan base speculating for this character. But that doesn't mean I don't think he deserves it. He's a cool character in his own right, and he really should be brought back in some sort of Mario crossover Square type game, remake Mario RPG, and yada yada yada. That's all good and dandy. But my answer is, in terms of should Geno be the next Square rep? I said he should be in the game. He should be in there. But my answer to that question is sadly no. I really don't think he should be the next rep. And that's not feeling I don't think he deserves it. I just basically mentioned he deserves it. He should be in. But my mindset is I'm thinking about it from Square's perspective here. I'm thinking about it from the company that actually owns him. It's not Nintendo that owns him. He is a third-party character. He's not a Nintendo character. So he'd have to be a Square rep and be alongside Cloud if he ever was included in. My mindset is on Square here. And that's not necessarily my opinion per se, although I do have other characters I'd like to see from Square, so it is kind of my opinion. But I'm looking at it from Square's perspective. Okay, we have Cloud in it, and Sakurai's allowing us to get someone else in. Who should we put in? I'm assuming in Square's perspective, they would want to pick a character from one of the franchises, one of their own franchises, one of the characters they own exclusively that they can advertise. Whether that be another Final Fantasy character, or someone like Sora from Kingdom Hearts, or someone from Dragon Quest, or someone from another one of their franchises. I feel they in particular, whether Sakurai wants him or not, they would want a character that represents something they can advertise, something one of their big name franchises even. And that means either add another, Final Fantasy character like Cecil or Terra or, Zidane or Noctis or Lightning or the Hero of Light or whoever the heck else, Yuna or Tidus, Waka, I don't know. They'd want to add an Auron, Tifa, I don't know. They'd probably want to add another Final Fantasy character because that's like their big RPG series. But then there's also like the Kingdom Hearts and representing Sora or Riku or Roxas or someone. And I know there's an affiliation with Disney there, and then Disney has to agree on that because of Square's, working with this. But Kingdom Hearts is another one of their big time franchises on Nintendo or otherwise. Maybe they want to market it. You guys do know Kingdom Hearts 3 is on its way out. Maybe they want to advertise it because eventually there might hopefully be a Switch version of that. And then Dragon Quest. Dragon Quest is back before Squaresoft and Enix fused together in the early 2000s. Dragon Quest was the rival of Final Fantasy. It came like a year or two before Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy came out like in 1988. I think it was like 86, 87. First Dragon Quest came out. And Dragon Quest became a phenomenon in Japan. I mentioned this before. Dragon Quest is like a religion there. People take off work and take off school. You know how business etiquette and work etiquette and super, serious, working hard type, Japan is? People have taken off work and people have taken off, school so they could play those games when they came out. That game is like an iconic series there. And it is growing around worldwide. So why not represent that? Like, there's these other characters, other franchises from Square-Enix, Squaresoft, Enix, whatever, that they've had for years, and a lot of them have large affiliations with Nintendo, Dragon Quest especially. And it's like, if they were to choose, if they wanted a second rep, wouldn't they have a choice on who they would want? Is it entirely up to Sakurai to go to them and ask for a character? Because, yeah, he's going to want to go to him, and more than likely he's going to want to ask for Geno. But I'm assuming some people in that company would question if maybe instead of Geno they can get in there one of their characters. Because I'm looking at it from a business perspective, and I think they'd want to add a character from another one of their franchises, one of their own big-time franchises, whether that be another Final Fantasy reps, Kingdom Hearts, Dragon Quest, and there are numerous other characters too, and it's like, they would probably question, like, why would we want to put in Geno, who only has one game, who we have to affiliate with Nintendo because he's partially owned by them too, but we legit own the character, but he's affiliated with one of their games we did with them years ago. And it's just like, I think it's a difference of opinion on just to add a character because they have an affiliation with Nintendo and a collaboration type character, or adding a character that could be easily marketed, easily advertised, and from one of Square Enix's other big time franchises. Like, Capcom has pretty much two characters so far, Mega Man and Ryu, two franchises that have large histories on Nintendo, but guess what? They're both from Capcom. They're both two of their biggest time franchises, not including like Ace Attorney, Resident Evil, and freaking Monster Hunter. But like, they don't have a character that's added as affiliated directly to a crossover with Nintendo, let alone Namco or Konami or whatever. There's Castlevania and Metal Gear. There's Pac-Man and potentially maybe Tekken or Tails or something, hopefully one day. And then Mega Man and Street Fighter. Like, these other third parties have, and Sonic and technically Bayonetta because Sega kind of owns the rights to them, but it is not. It's a Platinum Games thing. So it doesn't count as a secondary Sega rep, really. But it kind of does because the first game was published by him. But it's like, if Square Enix got a secondary character, why would they be the odd man out and have to have their secondary character be some sort of big crossover with them? And that's not me knocking Geno. I'm looking at it as, we get a chance to put a secondary character in there. Do we put another one of our characters in there? Do we have to do this affiliation thing? Do we want to do it to advertise? Because in my opinion, unless we're getting a remake of Mario RPG, or unless we are getting a sequel to Mario RPG, or Geno's going to be used in something in the future, I don't know if they really want to just bring him back just for the sake of, oh, the fans want him, he's super popular, we just put him in Smash Bros. And that's all he's going to have, rather than represent one of their own franchises. And it's just, that's my problem. There's a big distinct difference in what gamers probably want, Sakurai wants, and what probably Square Enix themselves would want. And it is heavily speculated there's a secondary Square Enix character in this game, and a lot of people are speculating it is going to be Geno. But I'm just wondering, like, Is he the only possible choice? And it's like, and I'm looking at it from Square's perspective. That's the reason why I'm saying no. I said yes to Beam because I do feel the character deserves it. He is popular enough and won enough by Sakurai. He should be in Smash Brothers. But what does Square want in all this? We can't really answer that. Like, what does Square want? Do they just want to throw a character in there because they're popular? Or do they want to throw a character that they can market and advertise them from one of their big franchises? Because every other third party has done it. Namco, Capcom, and Konami. They didn't get strong-armed into pretty much doing a character that's from one of their crossovers. Why should Square have to be the one particularly picked for that, is my opinion. And that's not me dogging Mario RPG or Geno. I'm just looking at it from a perspective of difference of opinions and what does Square-Enix want. And that's really about it. Because quite frankly, I like to see Geno in there. But I'd love to also see Sora from Kingdom Hearts. I would love to see someone from Dragon Quest. And I don't even have an affiliation with the Dragon Quest series. I have more of an affiliation with Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy. And I've played a little bit of Dragon Quest, but Dragon Quest is such a huge-ass franchise. It's legendary, one of the most iconic, most popular, long-running video game series of all time. And you'd want to pick Geno over that? Like Erdrick, the slime, the character from the new one, Dragon Quest XI, which is coming to Switch. Like, they can easily pick potential from that series, and it is huge in Japan. It's growing in, like, Europe and America and whatnot. Not Final Fantasy levels yet, but it's probably surpassed Final Fantasy in Japan. So, Sakurai is from Japan, and Nintendo and Smash Brothers are from Japan, so maybe they want to go with that. I don't know. It's like I said, I'm difference of opinion. I said yes for some reasons, but no for some reasons. But what about you guys? Do you guys want to see Geno as the secondary, Square Enix rep, or do you think someone else should really be that choice? Because, quite frankly, I'd love to see him in, but there's other choices I think that should be picked first, and he should probably be saved for like DLC or something. That's just my opinion. Put in the comments below and discuss it. We can have fun there. And that's my 7th of my Smash discussions. We could discuss it down there, talk about it, have fun. And next time I record some of these videos, I'm going to make sure I have more interesting ones, like about representation and characters being included. Why people want certain characters, and other little doodads rather than fandoms and talking about echoes and trying to dog Geno. Apparently, it seems like it's probably something you would really think I'm doing. But yeah, discuss it down there, have fun, and I'll see you on the next one. My name is Thanks, Peace. Please subscribe if you want to. Have a lovely day, and I'll see you later in the next video. Bye.